Welcome, everybody. Good morning. And today we're going to be looking for some participation among our audience.
Yep, we're doing some live coaching today. Whatever you guys have going on right now, it seems like the market is changing. I think right now, week to week, it's pretty crazy. We went from, the biggest thing we're seeing now, I guess, is open houses are having lines again. You guys seeing that?
Zero inventory, nothing.
Yeah.
There's nothing out there. It's awful. But I don't know. I don't think you can get any worse from the inventory perspective, right? You can't fall off the floor. So
No. The show must go on, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So what is everybody doing to combat the current market conditions?
Well, Christian and I were just talking this morning, just about not really market conditions. We can get to that in a minute, but we were talking about just a transaction that that you had a buyer on, right? With a possible, not really an inspection issue, but I guess some recent law changes that you guys are probably aware of with radon. Do you hear about this?
Yeah, I mean,
continue.
I don't know how new it is, but I guess it is new. So I was representing a buyer on a transaction, and we had the house inspection. We did a radon test. The radon level came in at 6. So as you guys know, the acceptable rate of radon is 4.0 or less. So it came in at a 6. So the seller said to my client, they wanted us to retest it. And I said, no problem. So we let them retest it. It came back in at a 3.
Wow.
So now what happens, right? Now, who knows what they did, if they did anything. It could just been a faulty test, but what happens? So the seller was like, no problem. Now it's a 3. But unfortunately, that's not the way it works. You got to take the average of the two. So 6 and 3 is 9. The level's 4.5. They still had to remediate. So, the seller was, arguing it and pissed off about it, but that's the law. That's the rule. So unless that level came in, at like, that's why if you get a level that comes in at like an 8 for some reason, don't even waste the money on retesting it if you're representing the seller, because it's possible for you to get that level below a 4, because if it's at an 8, it'd have to be, a 0 for it to be at 4. Right. So it just doesn't make sense to even do it. So, so the seller wasn't happy. They had to remediate, but
I feel like
what it is.
I feel like doing a retest never really works out.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like whenever I'm doing a radon retest, it's like wasted effort, money, time. Right.
Well, because it's really, listen,
it's always going to be, if it does come in lower.
But what are you talking about too? Like like I said to the other agent, I'm like, you guys are, trying to fight us on this. And I'm like, it's going to cost you $1,800 to get this thing fixed. It's a $950,000 house. Like, we're asking for 2 other things. Like, just fix it. Right.
Yeah.
Listen, so they spent, I don't know, $300 to get it, retested, or $200, whatever it was. And now they still got to fix it. So it didn't make any sense, but,
right.
But a lot of people don't know that, a lot of people don't know that it's the average of the 2. So,
Interesting. We learned something new today.
Yeah.
Yep. Absolutely.
So we've got quite a few people on the call. So I would love to hear from somebody.
Yeah. Talk to us. We're here for you today. You guys got our undivided attention for the next hour.
Something on a listing that I ran into yesterday, if you guys don't mind, I'll throw it out there. I have an estate that I've been dealing with in Red Bank for a long time. And we've literally done like multiple CMAs because it's been over the course of 3 years that mom has been super sick. And now another daughter has come in and is doing her due diligence and has spoken to another agent. And the agent is pricing the home significantly higher, is what she said. She's not giving me a price, but saying it's worth so much more, when in fact I live, work in the town and know the market. But this agent's coming in like promising the world, which we all know will fail. But how do I convey to them without being like, they're wrong, I'm right? But
Would they be open to having an actual appraisal done on the house?
I could ask for sure.
I mean, for a couple $100, I mean, that could be the tiebreaker, right?
So you're
Yeah.
saying that your rep, so it's between two different agents, you and somebody else, and the other person is basically saying that the house is worth a lot more than you are? Is that it?
Yeah.
I think
Okay.
basically the seller is just they're speaking to another agent, and that
Right.
agent is overpromising
Right.
the value.
Here's the issue, right, Christine? So I think what you need to let the seller know that a lot more damage can be done from pricing a house too high, right? Because if you price a house too high, especially in this market, and it doesn't sell, 2 weeks on the market and it's not selling, people are gonna be like, what's wrong with it, right? In
Yeah.
my opinion, you can never, ever price a house too low,
Mhm.
especially in this market.
Right.
So
Yeah.
what's the downside, right? If this person thinks, I don't even know the price of the house, but if the person thinks it's worth 450 and you think it's worth 400, you list it at 400 and hope you're wrong, right? Because the market's going to tell you right away.
Yeah, but
It's,
the problem, Christian, is that the seller doesn't want to hear that. They're looking at, they're looking at dollars.
It's a state. So exactly. It's like, how much money can we make?
There's
Right,
no,
of course.
there's zero emotion tied to the situation.
Are
So
they are the sellers local?
No.
No,
that's
no.
another problem.
Yeah.
And that's where she keeps throwing it in. She's like, my house sold. I'm like, you live in Long Island first and foremost, and your home was not dilapidated like this home.
Mhm. I mean,
And when did she sell that home? I mean,
Recently, but again, it's like selling your home versus the shack across the street. It's
Right.
apples to oranges.
I mean, listen, at the end of the day, I mean, you could have the conversation, just say, listen, first of all, you get paid more money the higher the house sells, right? So you have every,
Vested
it's in
interest.
your best interest to obviously price this house as high as you want, as high as you can, right? And
Well,
get the
that's
most
what
money.
I would relate to the sellers, that it is in your best interest, right?
But I listen, again, it's more damage can be done by having this house on the market for too long, right? Because then, they're going to get lower than if they would have priced it the way you wanted to in the beginning. If they're really stubborn about it, just say, you know what, that's fine. If you want to do it at that number, do it at that number. But if nothing happens in 2 weeks, then we'll agree to lower it, right?
Yeah.
Giving them a chance, right? The first 2 weeks are the most important, right? So you've given them a chance to make a decision.
You know what else can help, Christine? Maybe if you go into the system, go into the MLS, look up that home or similar homes. Obviously, you've done comps on the property, but what you're looking for specifically would be all the ones that expired.
Yeah.
It's always a nice visual to show them like 1 or 2 pages taped together. I remember a long time ago when there were a ton of homes on the market and a ton expiring. We were able to put 3 to 4 pages together, taped together, and kind of roll it out almost like on the table. Like, we want to keep you off of this list. This is the expired list.
Why don't the other thing you could do, like Chris said before, why don't you offer them, you'll split an appraisal with them, right? Because it's almost when you do that, it's almost like locking you in, like you're the person, right? Because now you're a little bit vested in it. It costs you a couple $100, but you get an independent appraisal, and it's not. Listen, that appraisal is going to be good because it's going to tell them that if anybody else comes in this house, and let's say it appraised at 400 and they're getting 450, 460, whatever, right? That changes the way this whole sale is going to go. So I think if you get the appraisal, it'll give them a ballpark of where they need to be. And if you offer to split it with them, I mean, again, what's it going to cost? Call up and get it.
Of course, for my listings, I always do a pre-home inspection, which instead of doing that in this house, because everything's wrong with it, I'd rather put the money towards doing an appraisal with them and saying, I have spoken to agents that are under contract, the listing agents of similar homes on better streets in a better area, about their homes on contract, and they have been kind enough to tell me where they're at, where their home appraised, and it's far better, so it's like,
at some point you got to just cut it, because it seems to me like it's you're talking to a wall, right? It's just get it. So at some point you either got to say, all right, I'm going to walk away from it, or I'm just going to do what they want, but maybe with some stipulations,
Yeah, for sure. Thank you.
Well, thank you. So, the other challenge that we're always, I think, hearing about, and I think the lack of inventory that we're having, is that these sellers are delaying or they're waiting to put their homes on the market, well, for probably a few reasons. One, they have nowhere to go because, Chris, as you say, people make decisions at life-changing events.
Life-changing events.
But at the same time, with those life-changing events, they're not gonna probably want to leave their home where they're, where maybe they have a mortgage interest rate of, 3.5%,
Well,
4%.
Because that would be a life-changing event.
That would be. So that's the challenge I think that we're seeing right now. And I feel like we're just sitting here waiting for something to happen.
Waiting for the shoe to drop. I don't know. I don't know what people are waiting for.
We're waiting for something to drop. We're waiting for the baby to drop.
Well, listen, the inventory is the inventory, right? They're looking at it. They know there's no inventory. So if they sell, where are they going?
Right.
Right. Unless they're moving out of state. But if their plan is to stay, if they're in Monmouth County right now, and then they're going to plan on staying in Monmouth County, where are they going? So it's kind of like that, catch-22. I mean, they can go rent something, but it's not as easy as that. Right.
I mean, you two are usually, the massive listing machines. We see a ton of listings from you guys. What are you hearing or seeing from people that you've been talking to? I mean,
crickets.
Yeah. Yeah. People are just, I think people are in a holding pattern, where if they're selling a house that I mean, put it this way, everybody either bought over the last couple of years,
Yep,
or they refinanced.
right.
Right. So, or they are just sitting on a
ton of equity.
a lot of equity. And obviously they know they can't sell because they have nowhere to go. And it's not just here. I mean, the inventory is bad everywhere. I have family down in South Carolina. The inventory is the same down there.
Really?
Yeah.
The only difference is there's a ton of new construction being built. But the resale inventory is terrible everywhere. But and then there's, the folks that are sitting in their house and, maybe they have been there for 5 years. I mean, I got into my interest rate 7 years ago and it's 3%. So, but again,
But I think,
even if I wanted to sell my house, the inventory
Where you gonna go
is not discriminating, right?
Right.
Right.
But I do think we talk about this all the time, and I'm hearing it from a lot of people that do a lot more business than me, that a lot of people are cutting down their spend. So myself, Chris, we spend a lot of money to try and get sellers, right? We're sending out postcards, magazines, whatever we do, we're spending a ton. Zillow. I mean, I know some people that are on Zillow, big, I mean, spending, thousands a month. A lot of people are
Tens of
cutting
thousands.
it. They're cutting it, right? And why are they cutting it? Because all they're doing is getting buyers and they got nowhere to place them. But I do think that a lot of people that are cutting down their spend, especially to try and reach that seller. I mean, listen, I'm fortunate enough where I can weather the storm, and I'm keeping my foot on the gas, because I do think at some point there's going to be a shift and you're going to start to get some inventory. And everybody else, like in 2020, when COVID came and everybody else started taking a little bit of a break because they're like, oh, this market stinks. The people that stayed in it are the people that reap the benefits faster.
Yeah.
So I think that, listen, inventory is going to pick up at some point, right? I don't know whether it's March, April, May. I'm not sure when it's going to be, but if you are advertising, don't stop, right? Just, you gotta definitely stay the course. That's just my thoughts. And that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing too. So
it's painful though. Trust me, it's painful. I mean,
but
every single month it's,
I remember back in 2020, when COVID started and there was this whole frenzy. Everybody wanted listings. And I remember countless agents asking me, hey, how do I get listings? How do I get listings? And I remember saying back then, I said, you can't put forward effort today and expect listings tomorrow.
You got to plant seeds, right?
So it's like anybody who was struggling back then, who actually took the right steps, invested in their business, invested in themselves, those are the agents that are going to be reaping the benefits when the inventory, starts coming to fruition, right?
Yeah. So what's up with you guys? I mean, listen,
we got a bunch of people here. We're here to help you guys. Who has an issue?
Someone's got to have an issue.
I know.
It can't be perfect.
47
right?
people here.
It can't be perfect.
Somebody's got something going on.
Wow.
Hey, what do you guys do if you have somebody on your team that's just not motivated? What would your next step be?
Well, here's what I know.
Find someone else.
I already shut off their leads. It's all right.
Well, here's
You got a sign, Jesse? It's like you're in bed there.
Yeah, I'm chilling.
what I
He's
know.
talking about motivation. As
Right, right.
dials
He's
it
laying
to
on
his
his
bed.
therapeutic pillow. Sweet.
Well, we see Jesse at the gym on
right.
the treadmill. So, but
No, but that's my point, Jesse. It's very easy to become unmotivated in this market because you feel like you're exhausting all these efforts and nothing's coming to fruition, right? That's why I'm saying you have to stay the course. You have to, because eventually it's gonna work. I mean, this market's not gonna stay like this forever, right? I mean, it's like the stock market, right? It goes down. It's not going down forever. I don't care what happens in the world, geopolitical, attacks, whatever. It's gonna go back up, right? It's the same thing here. It's gonna happen. And people that are unmotivated are just people that need that instant gratification that can't stay the course, right? So it's like if you open up a store and you're going to sell sneakers out of the store, and for 1 month you don't get anybody in there, you closing up shop already? No, right? It's the same thing with this business, but people don't treat this business as their own business. It's really, it's weird to me because this is your own business without the brick and mortar, without everything. Most people have all that stuff paid for. All they got to do is focus on themselves, and they wouldn't be so easy to close up shop if they had a retail space somewhere and were paying rent, right? So why is this any different? I don't know. I think, like I said, man, like Chris said, if he's unmotivated, you do what you can. If not, then sayonara.
well, and one thing I know for a fact is you can't motivate people.
Yeah, you can't teach it. I
No,
mean,
no,
if
no,
you're
no.
not hungry enough to make money, then what are you doing? It's like,
You can excite them, you can inspire them. Well, think about it. Like, you go to, I don't know, you go to a seminar, with, Tony Robbins or, one of these
Yeah.
crazy, coaches, you walk out there like, you're about to go fight Rocky,
yeah,
and, but how long does that last? Right. So, that's the thing. So to answer your question, they need to want it bad enough for themselves. They need to want it more for themselves than you want it for them.
yeah, Jess, look,
Yeah.
I mean,
Got it.
look at a year ago, we were saying how many new people got their license, how many new people were in this business. And all of those new people, now that the market's changed a little bit, it becomes a little bit more challenging. They're going to be gone. So it's like, you know what, just all those people that got their license, thought it was easy. It was easy for the last year and a half, 2 years, right? For the most part, it was pretty easy. Now that's not the case. And now you're going to see, the cream rise to the top, right? I mean, there was just that.
Well, you and I were just talking about, even the awards just in Monmouth County, right?
Well, yeah, like I think there's around 18,000 agents in Monmouth and Ocean County, under 1,000, 900 and something agents. There's only 900 and something agents that received a Circle of Excellence award. That's insane to me. That's crazy. I mean, I don't understand.
Well, what does that tell us? That tells us that
5%.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so 17,000 people in the entire association
Monmouth and Ocean County.
didn't sell 15 homes.
Yeah. Well, what's bronze?
15 homes?
15 homes or
And-
2.5
and-
million?
and 2.5 million. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. So
Well, it's the same thing in our county. I think we have around 3,000 members, and I think there are around 300 and something people that qualified for an award.
yeah, it's 10%.
Yeah.
And out of those people that did get those awards, I mean, think about how many people probably just,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Now it's going to be even harder, right? Now it's like, but like this guy that's working for you, Jess, it's like, what is he going to do? Right. If he's unmotivated to try and do something, I don't know, like Gene said, you can't teach motivation.
there's a Zig Ziglar quote. It's motivation is like bathing. We recommend it daily.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Peace.
Yeah. All right. Give us something, guys.
Come on, throw it out there.
Brian Walsh, you
we're-
got to be
Brian,
chomping at the bit.
We're staring at you. I know you're right on our screen.
Hey
so-
guys, did anybody watch this
Hey.
is Inez, by the way. How you doing, everybody?
Don't ask if anybody watched the Grammys.
No,
That's what
no,
I was saying.
no, the Unshakable with Tony Robbins,
No.
the 5 day,
Mm-mm.
What?
that was good. That was good. I'd never listened to Tony Robbins before, but he taught the same thing that you know that you should do. And I can't believe that he went to so many of the basic, but it's true. Motivation, focus, and all this stuff. You raise your quality of life. You have to have interest on pursuing your goals, pretty much, and focus on the positive and not on the negative.
100%.
Positive mental attitude.
Yeah.
Yeah, attitude, correct. So I thought it was interesting. That's what I did it.
That's great. Listen, whatever,
No downside.
yeah, whatever helps you, do whatever helps you get to that next level. That's important. But I'm just thinking about, in the last couple of weeks, I'm seeing so many pictures people are posting on social media, with people standing outside in line at open houses. And, so it looks like the market is going insane again, or the buyers are coming out. Maybe it's because the interest rates, I don't know what they dipped 0.25% or something.
Yeah, it's not even the interest rates. It's just that there's a day.
Think about how many people probably have been renting because they missed out on houses back in like 2020.
Mhm.
And I feel like those leases are coming to an end. People are probably trying to, move on from the rental situation.
Yep.
Yeah, because the rental market actually went a lot higher,
Yes,
right? So
it
the rental
went
market
crazy.
got higher, the interest rates went higher, and now these people are like, wait a minute, I'm paying just as much. Even with their interest rates higher, they're paying just as much in rent as they could buy a house for. So they're like, you know what, I might as well own and refinance in a couple of years, right? It makes sense. But if you put a good house there on the market and it's priced right, it's going to sell. That's just, it is what it, and again, it goes to the inventory for sure.
Right.
Interest rates have nothing to do with this slowness of the market. Zero.
I'm in that same boat myself right now.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah. I sold my house, I don't know, 8-9 months ago, and I've been in a rental, and just kind of, we're looking all the time, waiting to see what is going on, what's coming up, and there's not much coming up.
No,
not at all. I have buyers right now that can write a check for, 1.5-2 million cash, and I can't find them a house.
Yep.
Can't find them a house. I don't know. What else you guys got going on?
Was Brian about to throw something down?
I think he was. What do you got going on, Brian? What's going on?
I was talking to an agent last week, Mike Harper, and we were just chatting about just like the differences between making calls versus making content, I guess you could say. And I'm just wondering, the more time goes on, is it more beneficial to spend time making content, versus calling hundreds of people a day, if that makes sense? Kind of like, what's your perspective on prospecting and using modern techniques? And
What do you do with the content?
someone was saying that if you use like large email lists and email people, you're likely to get similar results as if you called the same amount of people. So it's just making me reevaluate my perspectives on things. So I'm just curious if you guys have any feedback.
I mean, just staying in front of people is what you got to do, right? I mean, however you're doing it, do it. But if you're creating content, what are you doing with the content?
Right. I feel like that's a very non-specific word, content.
Vague is the word you were looking for. Vague.
Got your tones, cut your nails.
Yeah. So, I mean, content, I mean, the
content, whatever, email list content, I just feel like versus phone prospecting.
So,
Gotcha.
With the phone prospecting, I know that it takes a ton of calls, right? Just for conversion, to convert, to get to an appointment. So what you're talking about, with Mike, I see the content that he's putting out through social media. The way I look at that, between what's going out on social, or whether you're making phone calls, or whether you are sending out.
Who when you say that you're
hang on one second.
calling? Okay.
So, what I'm saying is, whether you're putting up the content on social or you're doing mailings, or a ton of mailings, you need to incorporate something more than just that. So if you did a mailing to a neighborhood, let's just say it might be 3 to 4% effective after 9, 12, 18 months. But how can you 5x or 10x that effectiveness is if you actually went to that neighborhood and you door knocked to those same people that you're mailing to for something specific. Hey, we just sold a home down the street. Just want to let you know, blah, 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 whatever you want to tell them. So it's the same thing if somebody is creating content and putting it on social. If you don't do anything else to follow up with that, I feel that, I don't know, it almost becomes, I don't want to say useless, but you got to do more. So from that perspective, I think you have to have engagement. If anybody is communicating with you through social, when you're putting out that content, you have to engage, you have to follow up, you have to keep the conversation going. So it's the same thing with that content. And it's the same thing with, if you're doing mailings, the mailings will be 10 times more effective if you're actually following those people in some form.
Yeah, well, you got to hit
fashion.
them more than once, right? It's not
Exactly.
just through a mail.
But also in different ways, right? Not just the mail.
Right.
You know?
So if you're mailing to an area, a farm, obviously that's a, geographical area. So, I mean, I would probably start doing marketing through social media, like geo-targeted marketing, which is like super easy to do, right? Because if you're hitting those people through mail and now they're seeing your ads based on where they're located, and then on top of that, if you knock on their door, I mean, think about the repetition, right?
Yep.
And the frequency that you're hitting these people. I mean, they could potentially be seeing you, 10 times a week if you properly market to these people.
So,
Yeah.
Brian, did that kind of answer your question? Okay. Cool. What else? Who's got something? You guys are shy.
I have a question.
Right,
There we go.
Deanna, before
Hi there.
your question, just let our folks here know what's going on tomorrow.
I love you, Gene. So we're continuing in February with our series on hearing from investors. Tomorrow, we're going to hear from Scott Zielinski. He was a team leader of the Zielinski Real Estate Group, and Omar Din, team leader of the Din Real Estate Group, both very accomplished in working with investor clients long-term. So you're going to hear from them on strategies of how to find investor clients and then work with them, especially in a challenging time. So I was going to try and drop the Zoom, but if you guys can maybe check, if somebody can check while we're talking, because I can't Zoom, I can't message everybody in the chat. I can only message back to the host right now.
Oh, you can't drop the chat? Oh, I don't know. Not sure what happened, but
You make her a co-host?
that's too much to try to figure out right
I
now.
can stick, if we could figure it out, I can stick the Zoom link in there, or we can just grab email addresses and I can drop it. But I did have a question that's like kind of odd. I'm just scratching my head right before we came on here, trying to figure out maybe what direction to give the agent. She's got a rental. It's a single family property, a very large home where the owner is going to continue to occupy the home a couple of days a week and is going to rent out the house at the same time. There's conversation about it being 6 months or less. Then this morning, they threw out and said, no, we want to do it for a year. So I'm not sure if they would go the route of short-term or long-term, but I think there might be issues with the landlord not wanting to get a CO. And so there's just this weird dynamic. Like in my mind, you're talking about a landlord-tenant relationship, but I'm just wondering if you guys have ever seen situations where people have done like room rentals or like co-occupancy rentals of a property. It's kind of a space I don't have a lot of exposure to.
Can't, I mean, at least around here. I mean, I own a lot of property around here, and I used to get calls from the town all the time, and they're like, you're not allowed to rent out rooms. I'm like, what are you talking about? And sure enough, it's my tenants that they're putting posters on telephone poles, room for rent, you know what I mean? And you're not allowed to do that, right? So it's overcrowding issues. A landlord has to get a CO, anytime he changes tenancy and he's got to rent it out to somebody. So I don't know. This seems a little weird to me. I'm not really sure what, if he's going to do. I mean, obviously he has every right to do a short-term or a long-term rental, but not getting the CO, that's on him. I mean, he can rent it out and do what he wants to do. If he gets caught by the town, that's on him. But there's such liability issues there for him. I mean, I don't know.
It sounds like What's that license that you need? Well, it almost sounds like he wants to do like a boarding house.
Yeah.
Where you rent it out by the room.
Yeah, or like an Airbnb where he's renting it out. I don't know.
You would have to check with the township, but I'm pretty sure they're not going to let them do that. And if whatever they do end up doing, probably won't be township compliant.
And it's not even worth your agent doing it, to be honest with you. Because listen, the money that you get from a rental, I mean, if it's renting out for $3,000 a month, right? She's getting half of that. I mean, now that's for an annual rental. So if she's going to if this guy's going to rent it out for 6 months or a month at a clip, like really, it's not worth her time and aggravation to attach her name to something that probably is not above board anyway. I would just kind of walk away from it. I don't know. It seems.
Yeah, I agree. All right, good. Thank you. I appreciate getting the affirmation.
And Deanna, what do we have going on here next week?
Mm-hmm.
Next week here in Leaders Edge Zoom, we have a very special guest. Glenn Sanford is going to be joining us to share a little bit of his vision and his inspiration. So we talk about needing some motivation. Jesse, come here next Tuesday at 11 a.m. And it should be a cameras on day. So everybody get the gym out of the way, get your showers out of the way, and let's all do cameras on next Tuesday morning.
Makeup on. Yeah, please come on.
Yeah.
I hope he talks about how to become a billionaire.
I would listen.
Yeah, listen, we have no idea, to be honest with you,
What
how long
he's
he's
gonna
going to be
talk
on,
about.
what he's going to talk about. But listen, he did reach out to us that he was intrigued about coming on, which was pretty cool. We didn't have to solicit him and beg him to come on. He actually, called us and like 10 minutes before one of our Zooms and was like, "Hey guys, how do I get on?" And we were like, "Whoa, today?" We were like, no, that's not happening.
We're not ready for you today.
Right. So, but listen, whatever you get, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, an hour, it's pretty cool. And it just goes to show a lot about EXP, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
Because this guy, he's a super busy guy. It doesn't matter if he's a billionaire or not. I mean, the fact that he is pretty cool, but he's the CEO of one of the largest real estate companies in the world. And he's making the time.
I think it is the largest at this point.
Yeah. And he's making the time to come on to our Zoom, right? We have a thing called workplace chat, all through all EXP agents and stuff like that. And he's on there all the time.
Yeah.
So he really, really
Cares.
is like, he cares about this business. He cares what people have to say. Like, I mean, he's just a super, super cool guy and totally different experience than we've had.
It was really cool too. I think he was on Facebook. He actually posted something about crypto. And he was just he posted about like what he's doing or what he is and investing in or what he was doing and not doing. And the thread was like a few hundred comments. And he literally went to each person and he was, answering their questions and comments. It was just really cool, down to earth guy. Is it Pankaj?
Yes, how are you, sir?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us today. What do you got going on?
I have a quick question about, I know you guys mentioning about the marketing in same context. I sold a house recently and sent the postcards, direct mail postcard, which goes to over 600 some homes. What do you do after that? How do you follow with those people? Because that's went straight to the direct mailing. Any suggestion?
Well, have you been doing any type of mailing prior to this just sold?
No.
Like been
I'm fairly new.
Farm all the time, or is this the first time these people are seeing your name and face on a postcard in that area?
First time.
First time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I mean, listen, Every Door Direct Mail, which is, the program that I use, because you could work with, a service that does all this for you, or you could do Every Door Direct Mail on your own. But in my experience, direct mail you have to be super consistent with it. The first time I ever sent out a mailer to my farm, nothing happened. It probably took me about 3 or 4 mailings before I even got a call. Okay. And then it probably took another 10 mailings at least before I actually started benefiting with business from that farm. So, direct mail is it's an investment, it's a commitment, and you have to be persistent with it, and you have to remain consistent with it.
Yeah, but I mean, listen, if this is, I'm sorry, Chris.
In my opinion, it takes about or based on my experience, it takes about 18 months, if you ask me, to really start reaping benefits from a direct mail campaign.
But for this one in particular,
Yeah, I'm gonna throw something as well when you're
I
done.
think that what you put on that postcard for that first time, especially because you got a sale, you have to do, it's got to be something catchy. It's got to be something that's going to catch their eye. Like not, oh, just sold in a picture of the house.
Right.
Like you have to have something like call to action, like that's really going to, like, you know, maybe you sold it for 50,000 over asking or whatever it is,
Right.
because those people in that immediate neighborhood aren't, all right, it just sold. They probably heard about it already, but what did it sell for? Or, you know, you have to make them want to call you to see what you did to get what you did or how you worked that. Like there's got to be a call to action there. You know what I mean? That makes sense.
100%. And so, you know, you need a headline, right? So it's like headline, hook, call to action. Those are the things that you need. So, you know, the only purpose of doing that mailing, whatever you spent, whether it was $100 or $1,000, whatever it is, the only purpose of you doing that mailing was to get your phone to ring or to somebody to reach out to you. Your phone, your text, your email. That's the only reason you're spending that money, right? So you want your phone to ring. You want them to contact you. So you have to give them a reason, just like Christian said. What is the reason they're going to reach out to you? So there's two ways to look at this. So either you need longevity. So you need to be very consistent in doing this every month. If that's a specific area or farm that you want to target, try to get more business from.
Yeah.
Or if it's a one-time mailing, your question is, how do I make it more effective and how can I capitalize just on that one-time mailing? The only way you can do that, by the way, did you have the listing or buyer?
He represents
That's the buyer side, sorry.
Okay. So you had the buy side. Were there multiple offers in this situation?
Yes.
Okay. So without going into specific details, pick 40 houses, you know, go 50, you know, 10 to the left, 10 to the right, go 20 across the street, go knock on every single door and let the neighbors know that you just sold this home. You know, you represented the buyer. You know, you guys have a new.
But remember, who did we have on? Mary? What was her name?
Oh man, she was awesome.
Yeah.
That was Mary.
So one of the things that she said that I really liked was when she sold a home, if she was representing the buyer, she got permission from her buyer to actually leave a sign on that lawn saying, you know,
A giant sign.
saying, you know,
awesome.
something along the lines like, you know, I represented the buyers on this home or whatever, something for all these people to get, you know, when they drove by, they knew that you represented that buyer and how'd you get that buyer in there and whatever. So
That was actually an awesome idea.
yeah, it was pretty,
You know,
I
so-
forget what she said, but we could always send you that Zoom. I
Yeah.
think we have them recorded.
Yeah,
but
that was awesome.
but it was pretty cool.
I think I know it's in the fast forward, right?
No,
It's on our Zoom.
she's part of Fast Forward, but she was a guest over here with us
Yeah.
at the Leader's Edge. So we have that recording.
Yeah, but she literally, like, from the day that she closed on the house with her buyer, she has these giant signs that like you cannot miss. They're bigger than any for sale sign, and they're basically like those sandwich.
Yeah, it's like an A-frame type of
A-frame.
Yeah.
sign.
And
But just to finish what I was saying,
and she get a ton of calls from that.
Yeah.
a lot of calls.
Yeah.
But in your situation, having the buyer, go knock on those doors and you know, 30 seconds, you know, hey, I'm so-and-so with, you know, blank realty, whatever. Just want to let you know, I just sold the property a few doors over. There were multiple offers, and I'm just out of curiosity if you know of anyone remotely thinking of possibly, you know, selling their home in the near future. I would love to have a conversation. If you notice, I said, if you know of anyone, we're not saying, are you looking to sell specifically? You know, let them tell you. But that's just a great, quick 30-second conversation. Drop off a card, introduce yourself, and move on, you know, just very quickly. So if you're only doing one mailing just like that, that's how you can 10x or 20x your investment.
Monetize.
You know, what do we got? Travis, what's up?
Thank you so much.
You got it.
First time on the call, guys. Good morning.
Good morning.
So
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, We're here for
No,
you.
no, no, yeah.
That's all. No, I'm first time here. I've been listening to you guys, and I want to tag in on a couple of things. My daughter got me on this, surprisingly, but I can tell you in the last couple of years, my GCI has increased drastically because of it. Myself, I do a lot of text marketing, and literally my platform now is majority texting to client base, my previous client base, and a lot of agents on the call. It may be an opportunity that you may see. 2 years ago, I've been following this. CNET keeps putting out the top 10 social networks in worldwide, and WhatsApp has been number 3. It's only below Facebook and YouTube. Number 3 is actually WhatsApp. Then below that is Instagram, TikTok, and everything else. So I'm rarely on Instagram, but my blast texts on WhatsApp status updates have been freaking incredible. I post about 3 to 5 times a day, and I get a lot of listings and a lot of buyers because WhatsApp is basically your contact base from your cell phone. So if the person's in your cell phone and they're on WhatsApp, they get to see your status updates, bottom line. So it's like repetition in regards of free marketing. And a lot of people, internationals on the phone call right now, they may use WhatsApp and you don't know it because, it's free international calls wherever you go worldwide. So a lot of people, the number 1 texting app in the world right now is still WhatsApp. And it gets me a lot of business, surprisingly. So the majority of my marketing is through WhatsApp status updates. And monthly, every single closing I've had over the last 22 years is on my Textedly blast text system that I use. And, I send out 2 marketing pieces a month to about 13,000 people monthly. I type in a little message on Textedly, send it out, and they receive it individually, almost like an email on their phone. And you can add pictures, you can add links, everything else. You guys are probably receiving text blasts from companies and stuff like that periodically now, but it's been much more effective for me than emailing or paper mailings. I used to do a lot of paper mailings. I used to spend about $1,000 a month on flyers for just sold and just purchased. And my daughter, she's a teenager, she's 18, and she asked me, this had to be about 4 or 5 years ago. She was like, Dad, what are you doing? And I'm like, I got to send out my mailers. And long story short, she was like, Dad, she said, what do you do when you get the mailers? You get a lot of mailers from realtors, people who are advertising in business, congressmen. She said, what's the first thing you usually do? And I thought about it, and I said, I throw away most of that stuff. And she said, so most of these people don't know you. So what do you think they're doing when they receive your flyers? And she told me about WhatsApp, and I got on it. And I got to tell you, after I started marketing on a daily basis, I started out one status update a day. Then it got up to about 3 to 5 a day. But I get calls all the time from WhatsApp. People, I got a call this morning from a guy. He said, I met you like 9 or 10 years ago. And he said, I'm ready to buy a home. That happened this morning. And he's always following my WhatsApp updates. But the surprising thing is, I used to try to do Instagram, and I used to get maybe, 20 views, 30 views on whatever I post. But on WhatsApp, I get on average somewhere between 100 and 200 views on my posts on WhatsApp status updates.
Now,
So
what is he like? What are you posting exactly?
stuff I find online about real estate. I copy and paste like list reports, for example, they send out a flyer, a lot of mortgages in my area. I'm in New York and New Jersey. They send out this thing called list reports, status market updates. Just literally what I do, I just do a screenshot from my phone from something that intrigues me that pertains to my specific market. And I copy and paste it on WhatsApp status update. And I may write something underneath the picture or the caption, and I send it out. And next thing I know, I go and check and see who's looking at it. It's like 150, 200 people are looking at my stuff.
Where are you getting?
Last year, I got quite a number of listings from that also. Some guy reached out to me. His name is Caesar. He said, my wife is telling me you're posting stuff all the time. He said, I'm sick of her talking about it. He said, come look at my house. I need to sell it. He ended up giving me 3 homes to sell. And he had 2 investment properties and a primary home, and he was moving to Florida. Ended up getting all 3 listings and selling them. So I would encourage anyone on the call to check it out at least, try it out for a change.
I have a question for you. So where are you getting the numbers,
Context.
right? Where are you getting?
Well, I'm very anal. So every listing I get, of course, I always get calls on them. And the very first thing I do when I speak to the person, I ask them, is this your cell phone number? And they say yes. And I always save it after I get off the phone with them. So in my contact base, my cell phone has 17,000 contacts over 20 years of business. So I'm very, very, specific about getting at least a cell phone number when I'm on a conversation with someone. And I always ask them, how did you find out about me? It's either a referral or a listing they usually find me from. And the first question I ask them is, what's your cell phone number? And they say, this is my cell phone number I'm calling you from. And I save it.
Right. No,
and then once you save it, and you go to WhatsApp, they're on WhatsApp because they'll tell you, that's how they're seeing your information on WhatsApp, simply because of the fact that you saved the number and the address in your cell phone. If you don't have the number in the cell phone, you can't definitively tell if they're on WhatsApp or not. So at that point, I start texting from WhatsApp, and they have blue checks showing if they actually open up the text or not, which I love, because regular text, you can't really tell all the time if they're looking at the text. 99% of the time they are, but when you go to WhatsApp, when they open it and read it, 2 double blue checks pop up on their side or your side of the screen showing that they actually open up the text. So they're reading it, they're looking at the stuff. And your WhatsApp status updates, same thing. It shows you how many people are actually looking at what you're sending them. But you'll be surprised, because the reason I started doing that, I realized a lot of my clients, I never put pictures on my advertising. It's just a strategic thing I always thought about, because corporate never puts pictures. So I'm thinking, why should I put a picture on everything? And it really diversified my background of clientele, because when I used to, in my first year or two of business, I put my picture, but I noticed a lot of my clients that I was dealing with were mostly Black and Hispanic, because I'm African-American, but I wanted that more diversified. So what I did, I removed my picture from my advertising and just used my office logo. From that, I just started adding numbers day by day. And long story short, I'm realizing a lot of people who aren't from this country, it's a more likely chance that they're using WhatsApp than they're not.
Because somebody just sent me a text, and it said from 2019 to 2023, there's been a 26% increase in the US for WhatsApp users. And there's currently 85.6 million users. Thanks.
Facebook, Facebook owns WhatsApp. So the beautiful thing about posting on WhatsApp status updates, as soon as you post, it automatically feeds the Facebook status updates also. Oh. So you're literally posting once, but getting double the exposure from the one post that you're getting from WhatsApp status updates.
So what are you using to send out your text?
I do it.
Oh,
I do it. I do everything on my own. In the morning, I'm up at 5. I'm in the gym, 5:30. I'm out of the gym before 7:30. First 30 minutes or so, I'm just posting stuff. And then, after that, my day starts. Appointments, paperwork, everything else that needs to be taken care of. But I try to do everything first thing in the morning. And then, I'm always checking, because your phone is always, giving you status updates of someone sending you a text, like a regular text, and I'm replying to everyone. And if they're not pre-approved, I send them over to my mortgager. If they're already pre-approved, I say, send me a screenshot at least on WhatsApp showing that you have the proof of funds. If you're a buyer, sellers, we talk, and I give them phone calls. So I got to say, WhatsApp is mostly the bread and butter of my business, outside of my Textedly app that I use twice a month. The Textedly, is just a general information about real estate, status updates, market updates. I send that out twice a month to my 12,000 people that are on my contact base for real estate.
That's awesome. That's cool. Travis, what's your last name? Because
Waller, Waller. I'm in the New York, New Jersey area. I'm with eRealty Advisors.
Awesome. Nice to meet you, man.
Yeah, thanks, man. Love to hear you guys speak also. You guys are pretty good, man. I'm listening and learning.
Thank you.
Thanks, man.
We appreciate it.
Yep.
Guys, perfect case in point, right? Travis comes on, and we were just talking about different ways to diversify how you market yourself, other than the magazines, the postcards, and knocking on the doors, Instagram, Facebook. And here is Travis, right? And I use WhatsApp all the time, but never did I think about using it in this context, right?
Yeah.
So you have so many tools, so many powerful tools at your fingertips that are so far less expensive than the actual paper and stuff. And not everybody has that, those pockets to do all that stuff. So like Travis said, he's doing it. It's working. I mean, First of all, kudos to you, man. I have 2,700 contacts in my phone. I don't know how you have 17. I don't even know if I know 17,000 people. So that's pretty good, man. So
I think
but
I
now
think that's the strength. For me, that was my strength. I was always anal about keeping in contact. So, you know, real estate, it's not about the transaction. People just want to feel needed and wanted and appreciated. So when someone calls me and I haven't spoken to them in years, if it's Susie, she'll call and I'm like, hi, Susie. And the first thing they say is, oh my God, I haven't spoken to you in 10 years. How did you remember me? You know, they want to feel appreciated. So that's the only reason I did that. I just make sure I always have everyone's cell phone number. It's rare that I get a call and I don't have someone's number saved in my phone. But I mean, it works, man. I mean, I just realized over the years, it's all about the relationships. It's not about the transaction. And like you guys said, no matter what you do in marketing and advertising, if you're not consistent in it, you're not going to make any money. I'm a believer all that stuff works. But my thing is I'm trying to be free in everything because it's just free, you know. So, and I think technology can make it a lot more easier and fluid for you to make money in this business if you just learn the apps that are out there. You know, flyers are cool. I don't have nothing against it. But I was spending, you know, $12,000 a year on flyers, and I'd rather spend 0 versus 12,000. You know.
Absolutely. Listen, 100%. Yep.
100%. But
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it.
yeah, definitely
really
great
good.
info. Very good. Thank you so much.
I'm sitting over here trying to figure out.
I think while Travis was talking, we were all looking at our phones to see how many contacts we had. And Christian, I got you beat. I got 4,600, but I definitely don't have I don't have 17,000 contacts.
Yep.
That was
That's
pretty
cool.
funny.
But Travis, I'm gonna get your email. I'm gonna send you my number. I want you to start adding me to your WhatsApp stuff. I want to check it out.
Cool, man. Cool. I'll put it in the chat right now.
I think our chat is somehow disabled. That's why nobody can type in there. But wait, but you actually can direct message the host. So you can do that. Send us your contact info. And then Christian and I can be your but now you can have 17,003 contacts and we can see what so very cool. I appreciate it. We got about 5 minutes left. Just a quick reminder, don't forget Deanna's training tomorrow for the next I think 3 or 4 Wednesdays is all about investors. She's got 2 great guests coming on tomorrow. And make sure you're here with us a week from today. We have Glenn Sanford, the CEO of eXp Realty. He'll be joining us on February 14th. We're also going to be giving away the iPad next week. So you still have time to enter that contest. You need to go to our Instagram page, join Leaders Edge, go to the Instagram page, like it, leave a comment. Still don't know why we're leaving Happy Holidays 2022, but just follow the trend and leave that comment in the comments.
Yeah.
And that will be your entry. And somehow we're going to figure out how we're going to pick somebody. You have to be present on the Zoom call next week to be entered into the drawing to win the iPad. So that's going to be happening next week. We got a couple of minutes left.
I have a quick question for you guys.
4793.
So last week we had Justin Mercer on, the tattooed realtor, right? And I'm curious, just, you know, from anybody that's on this Zoom right now that was on the Zoom last week, did anybody take any
action?
Well, yeah. Did anybody find anything that he had to say helpful, right? And if so, what was it? I mean, for me, I found a bunch of things that I thought were awesome. I mean, I really loved the what did he do in the hospital where he left his, you know, box of donuts and it was his business card. The whole box was his, rather than taping his business card to the top of it like most people do, he dropped off a box of donuts and he had boxes made that were his business card. I thought that was super cool. So I'm just curious because, you know, listen, I get a lot, like Travis was on today, I get a lot of information from these Zooms. It's not just us giving information to you guys. We also get a lot of information from it. It helps us as well. And I thought Justin was pretty cool. I thought that he had a lot of interesting things to say. So I'm just curious to see what you guys.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
I wrote down the same thing as you, like with the hospital and not just taping your business card. That was big.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool.
Wait, Jesse, I'm talking again because I just saw Glenn Sanford and a picture. Oh, look
he's here already.
That's right. Jesse and I were in Vegas and we met Glenn, and we took that nice photo with him. That was awesome. Look at that.
I love it.
There you go.
It's
Awesome,
fun.
awesome. What
Also
else?
to buy a limo to drop my daughter off at school and when she starts school.
Yeah, that's right.
That was awesome.
That was pretty
That was
cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
I did do that.
Oh, what is this? Oh, yeah, Travis, I got people messaging me that they want to be added to your WhatsApp as well.
Unfortunately, I don't think. we could-
Yeah, feel free to give out my cell phone number. Just tell them to send me a quick message on WhatsApp or regular text, and I add them if they're not on there.
You know what? Send me a DM right now on the here on Zoom, and I'll just take a quick picture of it, and I'll have it.
I sent it out. It says, wait a minute, to Chris Walsh, direct message. I sent it out. I don't know if you see it on your end though.
No.
Travis Waller, E-Realty. But if you give me your cell, I can send it over to you right now.
732.
Wait, hold on. Are you in Jersey?
I am.
Cool, man. 732.
322-2848.
Wait, it got choppy. I didn't hear the first three.
732-322-2848.
Now, that really is cool, though.
322-2848.
322-2848.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I use
Chris
WhatsApp all the
Walsh.
time for like meetings and messages with people overseas, but I've never thought about using it for this purpose.
Cool.
Cool.
I actually love it. This might be one of the big things that we got out of today.
Yeah.
No, but all right.
I'd say so.
Awesome. All right, guys.
Let me know if you got my info.
I got it. Thank you.
What
No
is his
problem.
last name?
What's that?
What is his last name, please?
Waller, Waller.
Thank you.
Got it.
Any relation to Darren Waller?
Yes. From the
End of the reading.
he is a distant cousin on my dad's side.
Is he really? Wow.
Yeah, sure is.
What a story that guy. Man,
Yeah, I don't know him. I've never met him before. I actually found out by accident. My dad didn't have a great relationship with some of his cousins. And, you know, I had a buddy of mine watching the Oakland Raiders play last season. And he sent me a screenshot and he's like, dude, this guy looks like your brother. And then I saw his last name and I asked my dad and he finally told me. So I found out in 2022. Yeah.
He's a good story for the NFL. It's just, yeah.
That's awesome.
Good dude. All right, guys.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for being with us. Christian, Chris, and myself. We thank you, Deanna, tomorrow. And
Next week, invite whoever you want
Listen,
for next
great
week's Zoom.
Zoom for you guys to invite people to.
Yeah, definitely. Next week will be a good one. So it's going to be open next week, no password, and we'll be promoting it throughout the week. Thank you all for joining us today, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day.